On this video, you will know everything you need to know about the new Korean Infantry commander.
Cheok Jun-gyeong.
Or CJ for the friends. We have done 17 tests and I have a ton of reports to show you and to comment together to see if this commander is a commander you should invest on. I will also use our equipment calculator to tell you which is the top tier equipment for this commander, with also my best suggestions for free-to-play and low mid-spender players. If you enjoy Rise of Kingdoms strategic content, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to this channel. It's 100% free and you can always change your mind later. Let's go! Hello everyone and welcome back to Wick Gaming. The new Infantry, Versatility and Attack Commander has now been officially released in Rise of Kingdoms, and of course, I don't have the sculptures to max him out. But for this, we have Zlody, who of course maxed him right away on day one on one of his farm accounts. I feel so poor in this moment. On my live stream a few days ago, before CJ was released, I told you guys that I was very curious to test two specific pairings. One, Guan Yu and CJ, and two, Harold and Pakal. As soon as Pakal, the new infantry, conquering and defense commander, will be released in the game, I will also make a video about him. I am 90% sure that Harold and Pakal will have a great synergy while rallying, but we will speak about that when we will have our hands on the commander. About CJ. Why I suspected him to be good with Guan Yu? Yeah, spoiler alert, he's very good with Guan. Let's quickly go through the skills, shall we? Active skill, Courageous, deals direct damage up to 1700 damage factor to the target. When the target is weaker than 30% health, deals up to 300 additional damage. Second skill, whatever. 40% infantry attack boost with 5% extra damage towards cavalry and 5% extra damage taken from archers. Very nice. Third skill, Stalwart. While on the map, troops led by this commander have a 40% chance to take up to 50% less skill damage, up to one time every 4 seconds. Fourth skill, Sacrifice. If you have only infantry, you gain 15% march speed. Wonderful, who doesn't like march speed? With a 50% chance up to 100% of dealing up to 5% extra skill damage when attacking. This effect can trigger once every 4 seconds and can be stacked up to 8 times. The expertise skill will enhance essentially the third skill, Stalwart, with an extra AoE damage to 3 targets that depends on the stacks of the fourth skill. More stacks equals to more damage, and each stack has a 50 damage factor multiplicative. The AoE has the classic 15% damage reduction per target. This ability can trigger once every 3 seconds. We have already quite a bit of math to get through. Let's start from the fourth skill, Sacrifice. 5% increased skill damage when attacking, stackable up to 8 times. And if we learned something from the stacking effects, is that whenever a new stack applies, the timer will reset, will essentially refresh. We have Tomiris or Harold Sigurdsson as examples. This means that after 32 seconds of continuous battle, which is not hard to get in a murder ball, this commander will stack up to 40% extra skill damage. And the probability of the stack to happen is 100% when this skill is at the maximum level, so you don't even need to worry about it not happening. Let's now speak mathematically about the third skill, Stalwart, which is enhanced in the expertise version of it, so let's go there directly. Having a 40% chance to get incoming skill damage cut in half, so reduced by 50%, in a very simplified version of the actual battle, means that you have a 20% permanent skill damage reduction. Why is that? Because you have 50% reduction 40% of the time, and the 40% of 50 is 20. But there is a but. This effect can trigger once every 3 seconds in the expertise version of the skill. It means that we need to cut this 20% by another 3 times. Let's say that in a perfect world, you will get approximately 7% permanent overall skill damage reduction. Now, again, this is an oversimplified version of the reality. In reality, You need to see if when you get the skill damage from the enemy, you have that skill active. And this can depend only on luck and on the enemy's skill cycle lining up with your skill effect. So it can be way more reduction or it can be way less. But in a murder ball, this is obviously very effective for the simple fact that almost any turn you will have someone AoEing the shit out of you. And the skill is almost always going to line up with your damage reduction effects. Now, the second part of this particular skill is a new AoE damage that essentially depends on the stacks of the fourth skill, Sacrifice. You have a 40% chance once every 3 seconds to deal an AoE in a fan-shaped area, the usual about 130-135 degrees in front of you. Someday I really need to measure that. Okay, week from the future here, I actually measured how wide an AoE in a fan-shaped area is. I was too curious at this point and I had my Guan Yu in a vertical position compared to the Barbarian in order not to have the stupid screen perspective, and it seems to be 132 degrees. I have not watched the actual footage of CJ AoE, but it should be the same angle. Correct me if I'm wrong. So the AoE is based on the amount of stacks multiplied by a damage factor of 50. So let's say that you have the minimum stacks applied, 1, and you will deal an AoE of 50 damage factor up to 3 targets. And if you have the maximum amount of stacks, 8, you will deal an AoE of 400 damage factor up to 3 targets, which is basically half of what Leonidas is dealing with his active skill. Why half? Well, you see it's 600, so CJ's AoE should be 2/3 of this, but normally Leo is paired as second commander to Guan Yu and the enemy will be silenced, so he will take an extra 50% damage, which we can translate in 900 damage factor, and 400 of CJ is basically 44.4% of that. Of course, only if CJ has max stacks applied for this skill. Why this comparison? Well, we all want to know how Guan Yu and CJ performs compared to Guan Yu and Leonidas, and you will discover the answer to this question soon enough, but make sure to watch the entire video to have a complete picture of my analysis. So I apologize for a very long introduction for the skill analysis, but I really needed to go through the basic math for this commander. If you watched all of this, comment down below, you really are a hero for not getting asleep. Let's now check the battle reports. First thing to do is to establish the testing conditions. This did not happen in the Osiris map, even if testing there is now very reliable considering that they changed the 200% attack bonus for a generic multiplicative damage bonus. But yeah, always better to test in the home kingdom outside Alliance territory and outside Alliance. Much more reliable and expensive. Thanks Lodi, you are the man. So as I was saying, 310,000 generic tier 5 infantry troops on both sides. Both the accounts have the same VIP level. As you can see on the side, everything is absolutely equal. No equipment, which translates also in the same troop buff comparison, which is what we need to have a perfect scenario for our testing. And this is the baseline. The report, this specific report, Guan Alex versus Guan Alex, has obviously some RNG involved with Alexander's second skill, which deals passive damage, but you already know this. If they use a Dragon Lancer without talents, the report will look absolutely identical from both sides, and I proved this in many videos. Feel free to check them out. So, first real testing. Guan Yu and CJ against Guan Yu and Alexander. Of course, there is RNG involved, but checking the battle log, the luck did not seem to be pending on either side. Guan Yu and CJ wins with a good amount of troops remaining. Of course, in a 1v1 battle scenario, I will not consider the severely wounded troops to be extremely relevant, because most of the hospitalized troops you get at the end of the battle when one of the two marches is low in health. Let's just focus on the remaining troops, which is just slightly more than 50,000 troops in favor of Guan Yu and CJ. Second test, the one that you were probably waiting for. Guan Yu and CJ against Guan Yu and Leonidas. Even a better result. Guan Yu and CJ wins. Soundly, and this is astonishing. I remember all the commanders in this testing being absolutely maxed out, as you can see on the screen. So everything is as it should be. Test number 3. Let's go over here. Guan Yu and CJ against Guan Yu and Harold. Totally shredded. No chance for Guan Yu and Harold to win. Like before, I checked the battle log here to see if Harold was particularly unlucky in firing off the active skill. Not at all. Good average luck, as you can see, without skills fired in the very first turns that could have compromised the final outcome. Here we need to consider that Harold in a 1 versus 1 situation is stacking a lot of debuff, and without equipment to compensate that, the result might appear actually worse than it could be in a real murderable. But hey, CJ demolished Harold. 4th test. Guan Yu and CJ against Leonidas and Harold. Leo and Harold is very good 1v1, but still got shredded in pieces. Just rest in pieces. Test number 5. CJ and Harold versus Guan Yu and Leonidas. The result is very similar. Sometimes CJ and Harold can win, sometimes Guan and Leo will win, but in this case I absolutely suggest Guan and Leo for the amazing AoE and silence value that cannot be replaced. Test number 6, the opposite of test number 5. Harold and CJ instead of CJ and Harold, always versus Guan and Leo. The attack tree is better as we thought, so Guan and Leo wins. But anyway, the battle could have gone either way, same consideration of test number 5. Number 7, Alex and CJ against Guan and Leo. Now, what I said in my live stream a few days ago that I wanted to test other than Guan Yu and CJ, Alex and CJ. And look at this. This is crazy good. Alex and CJ are also crazy fast, with Alex's march speed combined with CJ's march speed. Unbelievable. Test number 8. CJ and YSG against Guan Yu and Leonidas. Now this is surprising. I honestly did not expect this to happen. Here there is not much RNG involved. The battle could have anyway tipped over Guan Yu's side, but hey, CJ works again. You know, one victory after the other, we start witnessing a sort of nice pattern here. And CJ and YSG has a great AoE value too, even if there are at least 3 other pairings involving YSG that you should use before this, and we will see this later. But this is a testing and review video, so it needs to be complete, don't you think? Test number 9. Guan Yu and CJ against Nebuchadnezzar and YSG. Nebu and YSG wins, but we expected that. Finally, some results that reflect reality. I'm sure they added extra weakness to Archer in CJ's skill for this specific reason. We don't want unbeatable combos anymore. Test number 10. Alex and CJ against Nebu and YSG. Same story, Nebu and YSG wins. Test number 11. Guan Yu and CJ against Alex and Harold. Guan and CJ just shredding Alex and Harold in little pieces. Unbelievable, 106,000 troops remaining. Test number 12. Something really weird. Guan Yu and CJ losing against Richard and Alexander. Of course, Richard and Alex in real battles are not worth a single dime because they get smashed against the wall, but it's still interesting to see the difference between a murderable and a 1 versus 1 battle. Test number 13, Alex and CJ against Richard and Alex. Of course, Alex CJ wins very hard. Test number 14, Alex and CJ against Charles and Alex. Again, a victory for Alex and CJ, which in a 1 versus 1 scenario is revealing itself to be extremely strong. Test 15. Richard and CJ against Guan and Leo. Same shocking and useless result as before. Of course, do not use Richard on the open field, please, if you don't want to get the full hospital in 20 seconds. But yeah, interesting result indeed. Test 16. Charles Martel and CJ against Guan Yu and Leonidas. Guan Yu and Leonidas barely made it. Of course, again, Guan Yu and Leonidas have absolutely more value in open field. First, because of the AoE, and second, most importantly, because of the silence, which is too good not to be used in a murderable. Test 17 and final one. Just the same as before, but they gave another try with it. As you can see, when the battle is so close, the result can tip either way. So in this case, Charles Martel and CJ won the battle. Now, my conclusions, which are exactly the same as Slowdy's conclusions. Alexander and CJ, exceptional in 1v1, but not good in AoE or in a big murderable. Guan Yu and CJ stupidly weak in 1 versus 1, loses against Richard, but super strong in 3 versus 3, 5 versus 5, which we tested, and any murderable. Super strong. Overall, the new Korean commander effect in open field is very similar to Leonidas, but with higher damage, and for this reason we predict Guan Yu and CJ to be the new Guan Yu and Leonidas. Yes, Guan Yu and CJ will absolutely replace Guan Yu and Leonidas in the open field. Mathematically speaking, Guan Yu and CJ should also be better than Guan Yu and Leonidas in a rally scenario, but we are going to wait for the release of Pakal to see which is the combo that works better in a rally as infantry now. The two top competitors will of course be Guan Yu and CJ and Harold and Pakal. About the talent tree, I will stick on having CJ as a secondary commander, and you can use the same Guan Yu and Alexander talent trees that you can find on my Discord, or this one right here. The link to join my Discord is in the description down below. Now, what's the best equipment for this commander? So these are the troop buffs without equipment of Guan Yu and CJ. Let's now calculate using our Excel calculator, which you can find as well on my Discord, which is the best equipment. So let's select base tier 5 infantry. Here you go. Then troop buffs, 156% infantry attack, as we saw in the screenshot before, 91% infantry defense, and 64% infantry health. Commander fixed bonus is 0 and 0 in this case. Let's say that we want the free-to-play and low-spender equipment. So can be crafted here on the legendary, let's put on 0. And epic can be crafted 6. And yes, use Season of Conquest equipment, no. There are not any epic Season of Conquest equipment anyway. And let's click on optimize. As you can see, the calculator is solving thousands of sub-problems as we speak. And let's get straight to the result. So about 45,000 solution analyzed. And here you go. This is the optimal equipment if you want to craft only epics. So the Gatekeeper's Shield, the Witch's Lineage, Queen Soul, Seth's Brutality, Karak's Humility, and Frost Threads. Let's now apply the possibility to craft some legendary equipment. Let's say I'm a mid-spender, I can craft up to 2 legendary pieces. So let's click here on 2 and can be specialized, let's click on no. Use Season of Conquest equipment, we'll leave this on no, and let's click on optimize. And again, we have the blue shield, the Gatekeeper's Shield, the Seth Helm, the Hop Clock, Seth's Brutality, Karak's Humility, and Frost Threads. We can see why there is the blue shield here, because the attack is so prominent, 156%, over 91% defense and 64% health. This combo has no defense, this combo has no health, so you literally need a lot of defense and health. Not even in the home kingdom is useful to use the Sakura Fubuki, not even with the special talent in this specific case. So let's now check for a super mega whale, extremely strong equipment for big spenders. So let's check legendary and let's put 6. Can be specialized, we'll leave these for now on no. Use Season of Conquest equipment, we put this on yes now, and let's click on optimize. Okay, 45,000 solution analyzed. And here you go. Hammer of the Sun and Moon, Helm of the Conqueror, Hop Clock, Vambraces of the Eternal Empire, Karak's Humility, and Sturdy Boots of the Eternal Empire. If we paired Guan with Harold, we will have probably the defense legendary piece here instead of the Karak's Humility, but health is so low in this case, and you want the legs to be the purple legs. Let's now be crazy. And let's put can be specialized on yes. So let's see what's the optimal equipment if you can specialize every single piece. Use Season of Conquest equipment, of course, we leave that on yes, and we click on optimize. Okay, 35,000 solution analyzed, and the solution is the same. Basically, if you can specialize every single piece of equipment, that's the same solution. So the top players should use this combination. Hammer of the Sun and Moon, Helm of the Conqueror, Hop Clock, Vambraces of the Eternal Empire, Karak's Humility, and Sturdy Boots of the Eternal Empire. Should you guys invest in this commander? So, if you have Guan Yu and Alex, like me, you can absolutely consider to put Alex somewhere else and max out CJ to have him behind your Guan as secondary commander. This commander is really worth a shot and will for sure be part of the new meta for open field in the upcoming months. What do you guys think about this new commander? Do you like him? Let me know in the comment section down below. Again, if you found this video and this round of testing interesting, leave a like and subscribe, and please drop some Fs in the comments for the hospital of the people who tested Slody and Lubu, who also has a YouTube channel. Check him out. I will see you on the next one. Ciao!